This is Self-Starter. Hey everyone, welcome back to Self-Starter. This is a podcast that highlights the small business owners, the self-employed and freelancers who have taken that plunge to create their own desirable lifestyle. My name is Andy Dowling. I'm also the host of the Andy Social Podcast. You can sometimes see me play bass in the Australian metal band Lord, and I'm also a dispute resolution specialist. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook by searching at Andy Dowling, or you can go to selfstarter.com.au where you can learn more about yours truly, as well as anything and everything to do with the self-employment world. This episode is with Russell Crosdale of Crosdales BBQ, which is located in Glossodia in the Hawkesbury in New South Wales. Now, in my opinion, Crosdales BBQ is the ultimate side hustle. When people have plans to start their own business, some of us look to the future and we envision a time where we can do it full time and do absolutely nothing else. But Russell's got a really different approach to all of this. Having been swooned by the flavours and the culture of barbecue cooking while living and working as a cook in North America, Russell wanted to bring his experiences back home and continue to enjoy cooking this food, which he developed a real love of. Already having a traditional job that was providing what he needed, Russell launched Crosdales BBQ as a weekend passion business that's grown in demand through the reputation carved out of quality American authentic barbecue food. So much so that at the time of our chat, Crosdales BBQ was booked out every weekend for the next 4 months. When I asked Russell about whether he has plans to expand this to a full-time gig, he was really quick to acknowledge that his main focus at the moment is to nurture his passion and to not compromise it in any way. That current balance between a Monday to Friday job with his weekend meat fests tick all the boxes and keep life exciting for him. Of course, nothing is ever ruled out, but why rush to expand something if you absolutely love what you're doing right now? Some of us could sit back and relax on the weekends, or like Russell, we could get out there and completely immerse ourselves in something that we love to do and make some extra money from it. As I said before, Crosdales BBQ is a pretty legitimate side hustle. For more information about our chat, you can go to the show notes over at selfstarter.com.au, including my key takeaways, which I'll get to after this chat. But for now, please enjoy this really cool conversation with Russell Crosdale of Crosdales BBQ.
I'm Russell. I run Crosdales BBQ. We do authentic American barbecue. We try and stay as authentic as possible to traditional American recipes we learnt in North America. I had a passion a long time ago to cook American barbecue. I moved to North America and I cooked barbecue there for just over 2 years. And then I came back. A lot of my friends enjoyed it. I really just wanted to do something with it. I do work Monday to Friday. I mean, it's just a weekend gig for me. But we're booked out now till the end of February. So every weekend. But yeah, I mean, we do authentic American barbecue. We don't try and do Australian spins on things. We take American recipes, traditional American recipes, and then just create it here and bring it to people's tables.
It's a pretty cool niche to have, and something that stereotypically, when you think about types of food from North America, that's certainly one of them, and something that people would identify with just through pop culture and things like that. So it's something that makes a lot of sense, and everybody puts their own spin on things, and for you to make that clear distinction that I'm not going to do that and I'm going to make this as authentic as possible, I think that sort of adds a little bit of a point of difference for what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. When we first started, or when I first had an interest in American barbecue, I was in Texas. I think it would have been 2009, 2010. And really it just changed my opinion of food. And when, over the next few years, I was still working, never really thought too much of it. I did cook on weekends. My friends loved it. I just got to a point in my life where I was like, you know what, there's got to be something more that I want to do. And basically within 6 months, I packed up and moved to Canada, and then traveled back and forth between Canada and the US cooking. And really, I just wanted to keep my barbecue as authentic as possible and take me back to those flavors and those feelings I had in the restaurants and in the smokehouses when I was there, and really bring that to people who don't get the experience or don't have the opportunity to go over and eat American barbecue. So, yeah, I mean, we do things like they do it. We cook over wood and charcoal. We don't use gas, and we can take up to 20 hours to cook.
It's pretty cool. I was scrolling through your Instagram feed and just mouth's watering with the amount of meat that's on there. I was like, this looks so good, so good.
Yeah, it's just like it's a meat lover's paradise. I mean,
absolutely.
The sides and the salads are just there for a bit of colour. It's like meat sweats are a weekend adventure for us.
It's really cool. So going back before the decision was made and before even like your trips overseas to sort of learn the ropes, I mean, where did it come from? And like, even just for you to have this thing on the side that you created yourself, did you always have in the back of your mind that you were going to do something, like you were going to create a business at some point in the future?
I mean, when I finished high school, I always had an interest in music. You know, I went to TAFE and I did music business there. I did book quite a few shows in Sydney around heavy metal. I did book quite a few shows, and really I had a lot of fun doing that, but it wasn't going to sustain me. Eventually I got a full-time job. I worked at JB Hi-Fi for 11 or 12 years. But really it just got to a point where I didn't want to do retail anymore. And I wanted to do something different. Now, I could have gone back to the music industry, but I felt that I'd been out of it for too long. I'd never really had an interest in cooking. I'd never had an interest in any of that sort of stuff. I'd always had an interest in the States. And then when I saw that there was a niche market for it, there was my passion was there for southern food, but I couldn't get it in Sydney. So really what I started doing is I just started doing it at home, and a lot of my friends responded real well to it, and I guess that's where it went. You know, over time, as my friends kept saying, look, this is real good, I thought I might as well do something with this, and then that's how we ended up where we are.
So going to the point where you've gone to the States, you've had that experience, but you've gone back again to Canada to spend time and live over there and learn the ropes. I mean, obviously that's an intentional plan that you'd made to travel over there. Did you sort of already sort of plan ahead that I'm going to spend this amount of time here, then I'm going to come back and then I'm going to create a business, and you already had sort of a vision of where you're going to go? Or was it more of a case of as you learnt the ropes, you started to get more clarity as to what you're going to do eventually when your time was up in Canada and you're going to come back to Australia?
I guess when I got there, or before I left, I always had the idea that I was going to go and I was going to learn how to cook barbecue the most authentic way that I could. Now, visa issues, I couldn't get into the States for longer than 3 months at a time. So really what I did is I set myself up in Canada, and I learned from Frank, from Hank Daddy's Barbecue in Toronto, who learned from quite a few people in Georgia and South Carolina, those areas of the state. So really what he did is he transferred his knowledge to me, and then I travelled back and forth between Canada and the US cooking. But really I never had too much of a plan to come back and do the business. Learning everything from Frank and seeing how him and his family did it, and the way they ran their business, I guess that ignited a spark in me. I thought, you know what, look, I've gone through 2 years of doing this. There's got to be something I can do with it. And then just before I came home, I thought, you know what, I'll do it. So I registered a business name. You know, we stuck with my family name, just to, I guess, keep our roots, to show that it really is a family business, that we're proud of where we came from. And then when I got home, we really hit the ground running. One of my best friends, he had his 30th birthday, and that was our first catering gig. And really the feedback from that was incredible, and everyone there loved it. And I guess that's when we knew that we were onto something. And then it's just been every weekend since.
It's I mean, it's pretty good validation, isn't it, when you get that sort of first-hand feedback from your inner circle that you're onto good things.
Yeah, absolutely. And my initial concern was like, people have just been nice to me. I've spent so much time being overseas and cooking it. Maybe they're just saying, oh, like this food is good. But, when it's people that I don't know and they have no reason to give me positive feedback, when they come up to me and say, look, that's some of the best brisket or some of the best ribs they've ever had, I mean, that's the reinforcement we need to keep doing what we do.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. What in those sort of earlier stages when you got back and you made, registered the name and started to get things together, what were some of those early challenges that you had to sort of just get the momentum and get it up and running? Like just, I don't know, like what sort of things or hurdles did you have at that point in time?
Yeah, I guess one of the biggest challenge that we faced when we got back, and that what I guess I still face to this day is the quality of produce and the different cuts of meat that we use. Now in the States, they breed their animals longer, they breed them bigger, so their sizes are going to be bigger. When we came back, we're trying to really use American cuts of meat, and then get Australian butchers to do the same thing for us. Now, this was halfway through 2016, or towards the end of 2016, and American barbecue hadn't taken off, and we were at a real struggle to try and find American cuts of meat. We're at a real struggle to try and find American ingredients. And so we had to adapt. And, even to this day, we still search for certain ingredients, we still search for certain proteins that we're used to using over there, but we just can't get here. So it's as authentic as we can make it based on the Australian produce that we have at hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's our biggest challenge. I mean, obviously there's new business challenge in setting everything up and finding equipment. It's also finding your feet and how to run the business efficiently and cost effective. When I was in Canada and the US, we ran food trucks and worked in restaurants, so everything was set up. Coming back and running a catering business from basically a converted shed that we turned into an outdoor kitchen. I mean that presents challenges in itself. And in summertime, when we got total fire bans, it's how do we work around those? Do we cancel jobs or do we there's got to be ways that we can work around it where we didn't have those issues over there. I think the biggest issue we had over there was when we were cooking -30 and -40, which is, that's a challenge, in itself, but we were working with people who'd done it for years. So really coming back and being alone and trying to navigate it all by ourselves, that was the challenge.
Did you, like in those earlier days and even now, like as the business has expanded and you got a lot of success, I mean, being booked out every weekend until February is pretty good. Do you continue to lean back on the guys that you worked with in Canada, like as far as getting tips and getting advice? And I mean, it is a different market and different sort of things at your fingertips, but as far as, I guess, just the ethics and the approach and all those sort of business things that you learnt over there working hands-on, do you lean back on those people still?
Not so much from a business or a recipe point of view. I guess I lean on him more like a mentor. We share success with each other. And I'm very thankful for the time that he and his family provided to me. We actually joined a group in the US called the National Barbecue Association, and each week they do conference calls with restaurants and caterers around the US. Some of those conference calls, they can be 500 people. Yeah. So really, we listen in every week, and we listen to how they're doing it over there, the challenges that they face, and really we just try and transfer as much of that knowledge back to us that we can. They had a conference in Fort Worth in March this year that we went to, and really that was a perfect opportunity just to network with everyone and find out how people in the same industry, while we're dealing with different markets, we all have the same challenges, and really that's my support structure. But yeah, I mean, the team that I worked with in Canada, a couple of the guys that I worked with in the States, look, we do rely on each other, so I guess I don't look to them for guidance anymore. It's more of a friendship now and a family sort of situation.
Yeah, it's really cool, and obviously, you've had some time now finding your feet, so it's sort of like a transition to the next chapter where you're really sort of probably, if anything, leaning on more sort of local resources to understand and succeed in the Australian market, versus trying to get all that sort of information from abroad, where it's more of a, as you said, like a support network more so than sort of direct impact on how your business runs here in Australia.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the benefits that we did have is my local butcher I went to high school with, and he's been great the whole time. He's learned the American cuts for us. He's learned different ways of doing it, and really we rely on him. There's a few different caterers in our local network that are doing it, that are just starting, and I guess we just lean on each other now. So working with those guys, we do have the same sort of challenges, just on different sizes. But me doing it every weekend, we're not doing it 6 days a week. So I mean, our struggle is going to be different to someone else's, but it's good just to have other caterers in the same situation, that we can talk to it really anytime we can.
And it's a big help for anybody out there, just to be able to understand that there's people out there doing similar things, and you can share best practices, or even just a bit of emotional support at the base level, just to keep you going, because it can be
absolutely.
quite challenging.
Yeah, and I guess one of the best parts about it is you can share your failures and work together to get better at things. We've done plenty of cooks where we've cooked something wrong, where it just hasn't come out how we want it to, and sharing that feedback with someone else, maybe they're going to get in a situation where that's going to happen to them, and if we can help them, like someone helped us, but I'm happy to share that information.
Yeah, that's really cool. And so at the moment with the business, it's a weekend gig, so to speak, and that's when you're getting your business, and as you said, you're booked out well in advance now. Have you got visions down the track to expand it? I mean, obviously events usually happen on the weekends, but are you thinking about other aspects of your business that could eventually get to a point where it just becomes an absolute full-time gig, as far as functioning during the week as well?
I mean, we definitely we have those opportunities presented to us. We get asked quite a lot to work Monday to Friday, but really what we want to do is we just want to keep the passion alive in ourselves, I guess, and not have to rely on the business to pay the bills and just become our source of income. We love doing it. We do it because we love doing it. We all work Monday to Friday, so I think at this stage, and for quite a while, it's going to be a weekend gig for us, just because we don't want to tire of it. We don't want to do it 6 days a week and then lose interest in it. And we find by doing it on weekends, people are more excited by it. That's why we're booked out so far in advance, is because we're not oversaturating it. People will book us and then get excited about it weeks in advance. And I guess that's what kind of the mentality we want to keep.
And it's some pretty good awareness there. And I guess, and to excuse the pun, it keeps people hungry. As far as the demand, they know it's not going to be just an easy thing to give you guys a call and get you there the next day or the next week. There's a waiting list there. There's a demand there for what you're offering.
Yeah, absolutely. There's places in the city that do it, 5-6 days a week, and I mean, that's some of the best barbecue in the city. But really, we want to be as authentic as possible. So we just don't oversaturate the market. We cook overnights on Friday nights and Saturday nights, and then we're back at work at Monday, and we work during the week. I guess we just want to keep the passion alive for us as well as the people that want to eat it. And I think if we were to do it 6 days a week like we used to do in food trucks and restaurants, working in that sort of food industry, I mean, it's hard work. We're running fires for anywhere between 12 and 18 hours, and I mean, there's not much time to do anything else.
Yeah.
So we love doing weekends. We're always going to do weekends, but I think that's just how it's going to stay. Yeah.
How did you guys get? I mean, really, in the grand scheme of things, you guys have only been up and running for a short space of time, but you know,
Yep.
how did you get the word out there to get to this point now where you've got that level of demand? Like what sort of things did you guys do to get the awareness out there of what you're actually doing?
I guess the main thing that we had two ways. One was my large network before I moved overseas, and while I was overseas, you know, I grew my network of people back here and made them aware of what I was doing. So really, when I came back, you know, people were already interested in what I was been doing, and they wanted to see, you know, is it authentic? Is it real? You know, is the food worth it? And then secondly, it's been word of mouth. You know, we don't pay much for advertising. We pay less than $50 a month on advertising for Facebook ads for our events. It's all word of mouth. People love it, you know, and we will do an event, and you know, out of a catering event, we'll probably get 8 or 10 jobs out of that. And I mean, that's purely our setup, our professionalism, you know, us standing there explaining how it's cooked, how to be served, how it's, you know, all the sauces and what we do to it. And I think that's what sets us apart.
It's like the ultimate business card. I mean, you guys have to be there. You have to be in front of people, and people are directly experiencing what your product is without, you know, you having to convince them that down the track they'll actually get to see the real deal, like it's in front of them. So it's way better than just handing a business card over and then telling someone to look you up later on. It's like, well, I'm here, we're talking,
Yep.
and here's the proof. Here's the proof in front of me. So give it a shot and let me know what you think.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, working in retail for numbers of years in customer service, you know, we learned how to treat people, and you know, we've had negative feedback, but we've always got to it quickly. We've got to the root of where their concerns lied, and you know, we've always turned negative customers into positive customers, and they've always come back to us. And like I said, we do it for the love of doing it, the passion of doing it, and to transfer those customers makes it worthwhile. But when people will book us, you know, the main question we ask is, we want to be there. Do you want us to be there? You know, we could cook, we could be like every other food service and just drop food off, but really that's not the experience we're trying to give you. Yeah, look, our food will speak volumes for itself, but really we want to be there, and we want to talk you through the experience. We want to share, you know, smokehouse stories with you. We want to share how we cooked for 15 hours. We want to tell you what goes with what, and find out what you like, and then recommend something for you.
Yeah, I think that that definitely, if you're somebody out there that's looking to hire, you know, a business like this, that could be a point of difference that makes, you know, somebody lean in one direction other than another. So it's not just about the food; it's the entire experience that adds the value.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I mean, there's some of the places in the city, you know, they do incredible food, but really, what we want to do is we want to give them the experience. You know, we can turn up and cook and then just not interact with anyone, and they'll enjoy the food, but they might not enjoy the experience. So really, what we want to do is we want to be there and just give them that family sort of experience, that, you know, that we're there to help them enjoy the food that's in front of them.
You mentioned before about when you receive negative feedback from somebody, from an experience, and then addressing that as quickly as possible and then turning people around. Have you got an example just off the top of your head of somebody that you've taken from, you know, a negative experience and probably a negative feeling of you know, their interaction with you, and becoming an advocate of what you're all about?
Yeah, we actually had one in the last few days where a customer had been at a party, and all the product on offer was pork. Now, her concern was that, you know, everything we did was pork, and she just didn't eat pork. Now, her review was okay, but it was based purely around the fact that she didn't eat a certain item. Now, we reached out quite quickly. You know, we said, look, we appreciate negative feedback because, you know, we love doing this, and really we just want to change the experience. You know, what was the concern? Then we got to the bottom of it, that she didn't eat pork, and really what she did is then place an order for something else. and loved it. It was beef and lamb, and really she wasn't aware that we did that. She was in an event, everything was pork. So, I mean, it's that sort of review. That's what we want to get to the bottom of.
That's good, and it helps you guys understand. Is there something that you guys need to do in the future? Is there something from an awareness piece, or what is it? And just to understand the motivation behind feedback can help you guys just get bigger and better.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's, people will leave very vague reviews, and that's not to be anything negative. I mean, there's always going to be a reason that someone's going to review your business in a negative light, but it's getting to the bottom of it and really getting them to understand that we're people too, and that we genuinely take concerns on board. If someone came back to us and said there's too much salt in something, or there's something like that, we would review that. But it was a very vague review. We got to the bottom of it, found where the concern was, and really it wasn't a problem with our product. It was a problem with the exposure of the product. So really, we explained what we do, and then we turned around, and then she placed an order for something else, and then left us a 5-star review. So
that's a pretty damn good turnaround.
Yeah, absolutely, and really that came from years and years and years of working in customer service. There's always going to be something that people are unhappy with, but they just want someone to listen to them. And like I said, we're a small business. We do it for the love of it. We're always going to listen. We're always going to take any sort of feedback on board. And really, we just want to make it as best as we can for the people to book us. People are paying good money to have us at their event. I don't want someone there to be disappointed in the experience.
Yeah, definitely. One thing, just going back to your customer service days and understanding a lot of this sort of stuff, and we've touched on it quite a bit because it's sort of the underpin of the whole business is your story and your journey. And when you look on your website and you've got it's really well laid out. It's nice and easy to navigate through. And it's pretty self-explanatory with the way that you guys have put your info there. But the thing that is really, and it sort of just ties into everything we've been saying, is the big focal point around your business is your story. It's the lead up to the decision of launching this business and the reason why it exists in the first place. And it's your traveling overseas, it's learning the ropes, it's understanding how it is, and it sort of feeds into the authenticity of what you're trying to put out there here in Australia. Was that a conscious decision for you to have the story really sort of at the forefront of your business so people could really understand the context?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we didn't come from food backgrounds. We didn't, we haven't had recipes passed down from generations. We never really, me especially, the rest of my team as well, but me especially, I never really had too much of an interest in cooking until I experienced it. Now, the people that we learnt from, they're third and fourth, fifth generation barbecuers, and really we didn't have that kind of backstory to I guess show that we're legit, we're authentic. So really, what I wanted to do is I wanted to expose the business and show we're as transparent as possible. This is where we came from. This is what we do, and this is why we love doing it. We travelled overseas. We spent thousands of dollars learning what we do to give you that experience. And like I said, I mean, we don't come from cooking families. Some of the places in the States that I've networked with, their families have been cooking this style of barbecue since the 20s and 30s. And those places are the authentic places that we want to replicate and bring to people's backyards.
Do you think that having that story and using that as a focal point to give legitimacy to your business, do you think that's really been a big advantage and an asset to what the success that you've had so far? Have you attracted certain people that have really sort of fed in and really sort of found a connection with the story?
Yeah, I think by us showing where we came from and the people that we learnt from and how much we love doing it, I think that transfers across and people can see that we're passionate about it. It wasn't an overnight decision to just open a barbecue place. It wasn't an overnight decision just to start cooking. I mean, it was 3 or 4 years in the making to get us to where we were, that we were ready to start serving. And like I said, I mean, I've always had an interest in the US. I did student exchange when I was in high school to the US, and I've just been fascinated with the culture. And I think to show that we learnt from people who have been doing it for 40, 50 years, it shows that we're passionate and we want to give that experience that we were taught and give it to someone else. Frank was very, very open with me in his business and his experiences, and he taught me, and really that's what I've taken, and I'm happy to share that knowledge with someone else.
That's awesome. And I think, I mean, I'm always big on the story. I think when people have got a story to tell, then that's where you get the personalization of, understanding that there's just a person behind the business and the name, and that's where you can connect better, and that's where you get more loyalty and repeat business. And people, it's almost like a sporting team. You want to back that business, that person, because you believe in what they're doing because you understand the story behind it. And I think it's such a powerful thing that there's still a lot of people out there that haven't quite embraced it yet. But that was one of the first things that I noticed when I was going through your website and just getting a bit of a backstory, is just seeing this thing as a real big focal point about what you do and what it's all about. Yeah,
absolutely. We're proud of our failures. We're proud of the fact that we used to cook in -30, and we're proud about the first couple of weeks of us cooking. We would cook food that we wouldn't eat. It just didn't taste good. I'm proud to stand behind where some of our cooks have gone wrong, and some of our downfalls. But it got us to a point where we are now, and we're proud to show it with everyone. And really just show where we came from and where we're going to go.
One of the last things before we wrap it up, and I think this is something that I've seen other examples of this happening and people using it to their advantage, is partnering up with other businesses. And I noticed towards the end of last year, you worked out a partnership with a local events business as well, so I think together you guys are doing weddings and doing other events where you're sort of being brought in as an additional value add for a function or an event.
Yeah. And really, I mean, that comes back to the sort of family that was ingrained into me and my team when we were overseas, is, people are out to help each other. At the end of the day, everyone just wants to work together and make an event a success. And, we partner with Rustic Event Hire, who do furniture and aesthetic hire for weddings and events. And really it fit our barbecue theme. They were nice enough. We knew mutual friends. So we partnered with them to do events. They fit our theme, we fit their theme. And really, we've done a few events together where the whole setup looks incredible. It looks like a barn, a traditional American barn with a smokehouse in the back, and that's what we want to look like. We partner with our butcher, so Munro's Meats. They do all our meat. They learnt the cuts for us. They learnt on the fly. Really, we would come to them with a certain cut that we're after. Not available in Australia. They would produce the product that we were after, and that was something that we were happy with. I'm not sure that there's any others that we've partnered with. We definitely work with a lot of others to be as authentic as possible, but they would be the main two that we partner with to bring the experience to people.
And I think obviously for both of those businesses, having you guys add to them and add value to what they do. So obviously, the butcher's getting great business from you guys and consistent business, and that's obviously influenced them to learn new ways of providing product to you guys. And then the event side of things, obviously, just from an aesthetics point of view, having the additional value add of having this fantastic barbecue experience just adds more value to them as a business themselves. So it goes backwards and forwards. And I think a lot of business owners owners or people that are starting out think that it's just this lonely journey on their own and they've just got to work it out themselves and not really sort of interact with other businesses, thinking that we're all sort of at sort of neck and neck with each other from a competitive point of view. And I think there's a lot of leverage that everybody can get off each other.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess my advice for new businesses would be is find your market, find your niche, and then find people who are doing the same sort of thing in the same market, and see where you can work together. Like I said, rustic event fits our aesthetic. I mean, they're perfect. That's the kind of look that where you want to go for. It's that wood. It's the old sort of barn style, and really we just bounce off each other. With the butcher, like I said, I mean, we wouldn't exist without a quality butcher. But we work together. You know, we send him work, and he recommends us to his customers who want to have a party. So really, just find your market, find your niche, and just work from there. And you know, like I said, people are out to help each other, and not everyone is out to tear each other down. There's always going to be someone there that wants to help and make your business success as well.
There's enough food to go around.
Absolutely. And in American barbecue, there is more than enough food to go around.
Absolutely. Well, I'll let you go, but I think if anybody wants to utilise your services, get in early. Make sure you give yourself plenty of lead time because you're well and truly booked up for the foreseeable future. But I'll make sure everybody has got plenty of ways to reach out to you and the business and have a bit of a sticky beak. But Russell, really appreciate it, and all the best going into the new year.
Mate, thank you so much for the opportunity. And yeah, if anyone is ever after us, I mean, like I said, we are booked out for a long time in advance, but you know, we can always try and fit people in. We want to bring American barbecue to people's tables. Our business slogan is bringing Texas to the table. So you know, if the opportunity is there, let us bring Texas to you.
Thanks, everyone. Hope you enjoyed that chat with Russell Crosdale of Crosdale's BBQ. You can learn more about the business by going to crosdalesbbq.com. I'll have the link to the website, including all the social media pages, in the show notes over at selfstarter.com.au, as well as my key takeaways. Number 1, join an association or industry group. Starting your own business can be seen as a lonely road, but it really doesn't have to be. By joining an association or a group of like-minded individuals in your same line of business, it can help you grow by sharing best practices, getting insights, and staying up to date with the latest changes. Best of all, it can provide you with inspiration and reassurance when times get tough. Number 2, the story counts. One of the things that really grabbed me about Crosdale's BBQ is Russell's story, which he shares on his website and through his marketing. When you learn about the journey, the purpose, and the why behind Russell's love for American barbecue, you can't help but feel more connected personally to the brand and want to support it. These days, this is marketing 101, but your story is still underused when promoting your business. Make sure you let everybody know your origin story, your passions, why you're doing what you're doing. It's a fantastic way to build that loyalty and support. Number 3, get hands-on and talk all about it. Russell does offer food delivery to events, but he always puts preference on being there to serve and talk to everyone about the food. They get hands-on and in front of people with their food to ensure that they can cultivate an appreciation of how the food is cooked, that origin story, and be there to answer any questions, or best still, take advantage of any new opportunities. The ultimate business card. And number 4, turning a frown into a smile. Russell has had years of customer service experience and explains that dissatisfied customers are just as important, if not more important, than the satisfied ones. When a negative review or a comment is left somewhere, Russell ensures that he's reaching out to understand the criticism and to also take advantage of the opportunity to turn that unhappy customer into an advocate. And those are my key takeaways, folks, with Russell Crosdale of Crosdale's BBQ. You can go to crosdalesbbq.com. You can also check out the show notes over at selfstarter.com.au. As always, I'll have all the social media handles, the key takeaways, all the links and resources from this chat so you can learn more about Russell and his business over there. But that's it, folks. Another episode done. Thank you so much for the support, as always, sharing this around. If you know anybody out there that's about to start on their own self-employment journey or create their own little side hustle on the side, a bit of extra pocket money, please pass this on to them. And until next fortnight, folks, keep moving forward, take action, and we'll speak soon. Ta. Larry.